What's happening, everybody? Ryan Thomas here, live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Another episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. It is Monday, January 27th, 2020. And, of all the sports headlines that I would really love to talk about, and there are plenty, folks, I feel like I really have to dive in and dive in deep to a very horrible, sudden tragedy. And, I know that there will be times throughout this podcast that I'm going to get choked up. I know there will be times where my voice might crack or, maybe I'll show a little bit of emotion. And to an extent, I'm really thankful for that, because I think if I were to talk about this and not have moments where my voice cracks and not have moments where, I get a little upset or a little bit verklempt, runny eyes running, tears running down my face, I wouldn't be human. I would be, it wouldn't be right. Wouldn't be right. And, a day removed from the sudden tragic news that the Los Angeles Lakers all-time great basketball icon, basketball legend, Kobe Bryant has passed away suddenly due to a helicopter crash that happened around 1 o'clock Eastern time. And not only, was Kobe lost in this tragic accident, but the lives of 8 others, including Kobe's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna Bryant. I knew that when I heard this news, that it would bother me. I knew when I heard this news that it would bother me for a lot of reasons. And I put my sports fan hat on, and I say, in my childhood, in my adolescence, growing up from Buffalo, obviously, my bond with basketball is not as strong as it is with, as it is with football or with hockey, and that's mainly due to the fact that the NBA does not hold a team in Buffalo. There is no team in the National Basketball Association that resides in Buffalo. Back in the day there was, in my dad's childhood years, the Buffalo Braves, but they weren't here too long. They were here 1 minute, gone the next. And due to that, my bond with basketball has never been as strong as it is with other sports, but I've always loved playing it. I've always loved playing with my friends. I've always loved, watching, NBA Finals games and all the NBA Finals dating back to the Jordan days, dating back to as far back as my memory can go when I was, 3 or 4 years old, and sitting here as a 27-year-old man, remembering those finals appearances with the Los Angeles Lakers, remembering Kobe Bryant and the dominance that he displayed, and his pursuit of perfection, and his pursuit of winning, and his pursuit of being this black mamba with this mamba mentality, trying to achieve greatness and being beyond great, being beyond a basketball player, being beyond who everyone saw him as, was a huge mission of his. And I don't think we can say the same thing for a lot of athletes. A lot of athletes, they want to make their mark in their sport. They want to do what they can in their sport. And beyond that, they go about their business and go their separate way. Kobe wanted to impact basketball. He wanted to impact the game of life from a business perspective, from all the things that he was involved in as a businessman. I look at this and I just see this as easily, and I'm not trying to put a ranking on things. I'm not saying this to be insensitive to any other lives that have been lost in sports or any other lives that have been lost in entertainment, whether it's Michael Jackson, whether it's Prince, whether, we've lost some legends, some icons. this one really hurts. This, I would be, remiss to say that this one bothers me. I've actually been thinking about this all day and all day today and all day yesterday. And I say that due to the fact that, yesterday I woke up on a Sunday, went about my day and went to the YMCA and played basketball yesterday, oddly enough. And it was one of the first times I actually played with people, on that court at the YMCA. And, seeing, some of the 15, 16, 17-year-old kids I was playing with and some of the guys that were close to my age, mid-20s, I was probably the oldest guy on the court. Not that 27's old, but, I was probably the oldest guy on the court. And some of these kids had, one kid had a LeBron jersey, a shirt. Another kid had a Kyrie Irving jersey. Another kid had a Kobe Bryant jersey on, shirt on. And with the 8, it was an older shirt. It was one that I remember from, a few years back. And, at that moment I thought, yeah, that guy was great, man. He was awesome. LeBron, one of the best ever. Kyrie Irving, one of the best point guards in recent memory. So, just thinking that, checking my boxes, kind of thinking of what those guys meant to the sport, what those guys mean to the sport, I should say, for all three of them. And then leaving the gym, going to pick up some lunch, and checking my phone and, getting home, walking through the door. I lock the door. I turn to my phone. My phone's buzzing, and I look down and I see that Kobe Bryant had passed away in a tragic helicopter crash. I literally had to sit down. I literally had to say to myself, I feel like this is real. And I hope it's not. I pray it's not. I really hope it's not. But I feel like it is. And knowing that it was shortly thereafter, seeing the outpouring of support from former teammates and former coaches, and it really it hurts. It hurts because this was a guy that was my Michael Jordan, was the Michael Jordan of my era. And yeah, I grew up with Michael Jordan. I get to live through some of the stuff that he did with the Bulls and some of the stuff that he did with the Wizards and stuff. But really didn't get to see it all the way through, from start to finish. I got to see Kobe Bryant from start to finish. I got to see his finals wins with Shaq. I got to see his finals wins with Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom and some of those guys. I got to see that. And I wouldn't be the first to, I'd be the first to admit it. I've never really been a Lakers fan. I've actually rooted for the Celtics, just based on my Red Sox fandom and based on my love for Larry Bird and my love for Kevin Garnett. Shout out to him. His performance in Uncut Gems was awesome. And Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, that trio, I loved watching those guys. Rajon Rondo, Eddie House, those were some names that I read. But the Phil Jackson-led Lakers and the Kobe Bryant-led Lakers were really the teams that I looked at and said, wow, those are the teams those teams were dynamic. And he was running the show. He was running the floor. And knowing how great he was on the court was easy. It was really easy. But knowing how great he was off the court as well in this next chapter of his life, being the avid, mixed martial arts fan and analyst that I am, and really analyzing the sport deeply over the course of my career, podcasting and writing and covering mixed martial arts the last 5 years. Kobe Bryant has actually been a very small but unique part of the growth of mixed martial arts with Body Armor and what he was doing with Body Armor and what he was doing to promote the brand and promote ESPN Plus with his show Detail that spawned a sequel to that series featuring guys like Peyton Manning and Daniel Cormier. He was really doing amazing things, unique things, production things, winning an Academy Award for an animated short film that was titled Dear Basketball, where he depicted his love for the game and why he loved it and how he fell in love with it and what it did to transform his life. And I think for all the tributes that there are for Kobe Bryant, for all the tributes that were so heartfelt and genuine between players that, he played with, as I said, opponents, coaches that he went up against, everyone. The fact that this was a guy that was investing his future in his daughter, and his daughter was also a member on this helicopter that passed, is just really tough for me to wrap my head around. And it's a story that I don't think I'll ever forget, and I don't think we should ever forget it. We should never forget it. We should never forget this story, because this story reminds us that the simple cliche of life being too short is just, it really is a cliche, and it's really not enough. Why is life too short? What moments allow us to believe that life is too short? Moments like these. Moments where we realize no matter who you are, whether you're Ryan Thomas from Buffalo, New York, or Kobe Bryant, all-time NBA legend, one of the best three players, in my opinion, that has ever dribbled a basketball. You guys can figure out the other two for yourselves. I'll let you guys chew on that. But one of the best three, without a doubt. To know that he had his day where he met his fate, unfortunately gone far too soon. But to know that all of us have our day. We all have our day where we move on in the next phase of our life. And in one moment, Kobe thought he was moving on to the next phase of his life, retirement, enjoying what was left of his life with his kids, watching his kids grow, and that unfortunately is not to be. Yesterday, January 26th, 2020, was his day that he would move on to a better place. And I can't say I'm the most religious guy. I feel like I should go to church more and pray more and, be more heartfelt towards those things. But I do believe that he is in a better place. I believe that he is in a better place with his daughter, and he's in a better place with the victims of this crash. And when I look at this whole situation and I look at what's fair, I do question what is fair in life after hearing something like this. What is real in life after something like this? What makes sense? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And rather than thinking that way, you have to just say to yourself, this man was living his final. The one thing that I think about when I think of this is just the final moments of his life, and how horrifying that had to be to know that you were going down. You were on a helicopter and it was going down, and you had to prepare for that. And no one deserves that. And to know that Kobe had to go through that is, and to know that Gianna had to go through that, and to know that the pilot and the other members within the plane or within the helicopter, it's just really, it's really sad. But rather than talking about Kobe's end and how his life ended, I would rather talk about the things that I remember the most from his career. And I guess you could say the one moment that really sticks out at me on the court is the fact that as great as he was on the court, his family was really what mattered. But on the court, with Shaq, with Shaquille O'Neal in their prime, that is, and has always been to me, the best duo that has ever competed on a basketball court. And just from what I have seen, they were so dominant. And you really picked your poison with Shaq, because Shaq could outmuscle you at anywhere inside the paint, and Kobe Bryant can make any shot offensively. Shaq under the rim was unstoppable. Kobe anywhere on the floor was unstoppable. So, you have that mix of the ultimate power forward, the ultimate center, with the ultimate shooting guard, small forward, guy that could play point guard, guy that could outmuscle you, the guy that could outjump you. I mean, really, Kobe could play anywhere and be successful. And I think when he retired and went into retirement, that was really when my interest in the game waned even more. And as I said from the top of the show, Kobe, I can't really say I was his biggest fan, because I didn't really like the Lakers. But I respected his career. I respected his greatness on the court. But I can't really say I was his biggest fan. I wanted to see him lose. I really did, because I didn't like the Lakers. But at the same time, I respected the greatness. This is a devastating loss. This is a loss that we will feel as sports fans till the end of time. This is not your average moment in sports history. This is a horrible, horrible tragedy, and one that I think we'll always remember where we were when we heard about it, and we'll always remember hoping that it wasn't true, praying that it wasn't true, and praying that his wife, Vanessa, and his other 3 daughters will end up okay. And that's all we can do right now, is hoping and praying that his family will be looked after. Tracy McGrady, great friend of Kobe Bryant. These grown men, these muscular giants, these athletic monsters on the court are just overcome with emotion and just befuddled by this. And I can't blame them for not, but it just goes to show you what this guy did to transcend basketball. A 17-year-old kid coming out of high school, brought into the NBA, and comes out and says that he has what it takes to be better than Jordan. And in a lot of ways, he's the closest thing to Jordan. I think the all-time NBA discussion of who's better, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, I feel like LeBron is really etching himself as one of the top 3, but really I think you could put MJ, Kobe, and LeBron in any order, and that's my order. But you could put any of those three in the top three in any order, and I wouldn't debate it. But the game of basketball lost a massive, massive giant, a titan, a legend of the game, a figure that cannot be replaced. In the words of Magic Johnson, the greatest Laker of all time. And someone that I think was set to do big things, maybe in the WNBA with his daughter Gianna. They had such a close relationship and were such a close father-daughter, duo that, Gianna had a lot of plans to go to UConn and to move forward in her life. And I don't have kids, but I definitely want kids in the future. And knowing that, he was so close with his kids, and especially how close he was with his daughter, and knowing that they both had to go through this is just, it's so heartbreaking. And I hate to go back to it, and I hate to repeat myself, but this is the only thing I can think about. There's a lot of storylines that I could talk about in MMA and football. I mean, it's Super Bowl week, but this is one of the saddest days in my history of being a sports fan. President Thomas Bach, IOC, International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach released a statement that said that he let me see if I can read this here without choking up. He said he embraced the power of sport to change people's lives. And that's, I think, as true a quote as any. As true a quote as any. And you didn't even have to be a fan of his. You didn't have to be a fan of the Lakers. You could have loathed the Lakers. You could have loathed Kobe on the court. You could have said to yourself, I don't want to see this guy win. But when he did, it was like, damn, he's good. Man, he's good. Man, is he great. And those moments I'll remember. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Gianna Bryant. And rest in peace to the lives that were lost on this horrible, horrible, tragic accident. And shout out to Alicia Keys last night at the Grammy Awards. I know that's a random transition, but I thought she did a phenomenal job hosting the awards and hosting an award show during a really tragic day. And the 7 lives lost: Alyssa Altobelli, Peyton Chester, the parents Carrie and John Altobelli, who was the head baseball coach at the Orange Coast College, and Sarah Chester, as well as basketball assistant coach Christina Mauser and pilot Ara Zobayan. They departed from the John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California at 9:06 Pacific Time in a 1991 Sikorsky S-76B helicopter, registration N72EX. They were heading to a basketball game at Bryant's Mamba Sports Academy in Newbury Park. Bryant was the coach of Gianna's team. And of all the reports in the investigation that talk about the visibility, the fog, all those things, just makes it that much more frustrating and heartbreaking and mind-blowing. But we just have to stay together. We have to stay together. We have to be better. We have to understand that life is so fragile. And life is too short for any grudge or beef or gripe or anything that gets in the way of you and another person. Because at any moment, At any moment, life can be taken. And that's all I have to say tonight. I'm Ryan Thomas. It was the Thomas Take. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to Gianna Bryant. Rest in peace to all the lives that were lost. This devastating, devastating tragedy.